Good morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here as part of this symposium. I've heard so many interesting presentations already. My presentation will be slightly different. I'll be speaking to you about dance. My presentation will be in English. I'll start with a quick intro in French, but the rest of my presentation will be in English. So this is a presentation about my PhD research on human-to-robot dance interactivity.
Presentation is how digital anthropomorphism enhances creativity in human-to-robot dance interactivity. And as you can see, is this working? Because earlier the problem with the slide changing was a bit. So I don't know if you hear me. You can also change it by yourself if it's not working. So can we go to the first slide, please? Yes, thank you. The context of my presentation is related, as I said, on my PhD project that is entitled Dancing with Robots, Performativity and Artificial Consciousness. It's a project started in 2019 and is based on some research experience done as a part-time design engineer for a EuroArtec project called Co-Evolution, Co-Creation within Human-Machine Projects, Human-Machine Creation, between 2021 and 2022. And the main purpose of my experimentation and research is, among other things, is to determine how qualia, which is like a personal mental state that we all experience, is defined by users or is experienced by users while learning through imitation dance sequences. And in our particular case for this presentation is about imitation dance sequences demonstrated by a humanoid robot, an industrial arm, and a human performer. So we did a study, and the context of this study led to the paper that is today presented. And it's about anthropomorphism. So the thing about anthropomorphism is, to my research, to see how exactly it can enhance creativity in human-robot interaction and how it can influence an artistic research creation process. And I will start by defining it, even though some among you might know what it is. Anthropo, coming from the Greek for human, and morphism, shape. It's about how we rationalize an entity's behavior in a given social environment, and it's also about how we project our physical and psychological functioning into objects and artifacts. And we associated in this to this concept of anthropomorphism the idea of digital twins, robots, and digital twin is another emerging concept that is about how exactly the multiple simulation, because it's starts from simulation of, as you know, robots have always an equivalent in a programming environment where it can be simulated with all its parameters. So digital twin is more the real-time data processing for multiple simulations at a time. It's a bigger frame of a simulation. And how exactly these two concepts can emerge in something that is defined earlier also by the literature. Among like 2016, researchers started to define digital anthropomorphism. And we will try to see through our study and experiments how exactly digital anthropomorphism can enhance creativity while interacting with robots. And creativity here is defined in a very large term for the moment. We will see later exactly what I can relate to when I define it in our research processes. And what I would like just to highlight is that for now, like this idea of anthropomorphism, because we are in the dance context, is related to appearance, as we said earlier, but also to functioning and skills. And I will cite an artist that will also be present here these days, Louis Philippe Demers, for whom any abstract inert shape can become fluid, organic, and eventually anthropomorphic, by the sole means of contextualization and movement. So movement is a key concept because of dance, and is also the filter to which we will be analyzing anthropomorphism in our experiments. So we've done a field study. Among the questions that we asked ourselves before starting it was how we can create an original choreographic language inspired by robots, influenced by somatic practices and different types of embodied intelligence. And how can robots, seen here as digital twins, can favor a hybridization state between the body of the performance and the robot virtual body? And as I said about the creativity, one of the sub-notions that is associated with it is inspiration, and it's seen, we are treating it in our context as an embodied dynamic process that can be extended to artifacts. This is a hypothesis advanced by another artist that I'm citing, we are citing in the study, Simon Penny. So the working hypothesis we ask in the beginning of our studies are how the shape of a robot can influence the performance, generating unintentional movement similar to kinesthetic responses, how a dance sequence can be reproduced more easily depending on the type of the robot, and can a hybridization process be facilitated through digital anthropomorphism. So the protocol of our study, I'm seeing the slide is still the same, so I don't know if in the backward you can hear me. I'm trying to change it. Is it this? Well. Okay, thank you. So the question and methodology part I was just talking about, and now the protocol involved 25 dance students that were asked to memorize and then improvise an analogous movement sequence indicated through video projection by different dance partners. The first sequence was taught by a humanoid robot, the second one by an industrial arm, and the last one by a human performer. The film sequence have the same format and duration, approximately 1 minute, and there's mostly the same structure, but that differs in the quality of movement depending on the teacher. So the next step was the dancer students were asked to freely interpret the movement and collectively improvise a free dance sequence, recycling the movement they see or they experience. And we use as a method of analysis a 5-point Likert scale questionnaire with answer ranging from 1, strongly disagree, to 2, strongly disagree, to 5, strongly agree, within a 23 questions form at the end of the experience. So the experimentation phase took, like for our research process, took a lot of steps. As I said earlier, there was a work done before for a bigger project, and it continued with this interrogation of how can a tool become a partner, seeing here as robots have through society, through their development, this place of tools. And we advanced this notion of interactivity, seen in the literature as an extension of interaction through media and technology whose objective is to escape the control of man within the interaction. So this mix of physical and virtual, living and non-living, can favor exchanges rather than hierarchize a distribution of roles. And humans no longer have an exclusively active role within, but are in interdependence with the devices they are using. So the robots we use for our study, you see them in the image, are mostly social robots used in research contexts, but here are seen as an interface between digital information space and people, the people that were present in the experiment. And we wanted to see how exactly they can help us to study this hybridization process and understand more about creativity when interacting with machines. So again, according to the literature, currently technology is shaping our understanding of the human body, and its definition is expanding. It can lead to social networks or culturally constructed artifacts, among others. So anthropologist and philosopher or human science researchers talk about notions like body domestication to see how the body can be segmented in units according to the fields of research that address it. In our particular context, because of the dance, it was related to how can the robot itself become just one part and we can forget or not the conventional movement appearance that we are used to. Like when we think of dance, we think of limbs moving. So the idea is more to see just part of an organism that is in movement. And of course, in arts, pioneers like Stellark or other known artists are using the body as a playground for technical experiments, while in robotics, they are more designed to emulate human characteristics and help collaboration activities. So the main concept that I already mentioned is this hybridation concept that is borrowed from a known artist, Edmond Couchot. And for him, this hybridation is always located in the experience. And the idea about the hybridation is that it involves, for him at least, a mix between materiality and autonomy. And for dealing with this materiality, he kind of advanced this notion of techno-aesthetic experience. And techno-aesthetic experience is a sensitive experience lived in the technical act that results in sensory knowledge shared by all members of a society, shaping the way of being and doing. So this is a very contextualized definition for his work. we tried to our study, but also for my PhD research, to use it more as entry in the field of dance interaction to see exactly what does techno-aesthetic experience can mean through while imitating a dance with a robot or imitating the movements of a robot. So this schema here summarizing a bit the process that we have, like the dynamic between human and robot, always involving a gesture imitation and a gesture expression. And on the axis, you can see that as more as the gesture expression is produced, the hybridation process enlarges, and more as the human is emulating itself or doing an experience of empathical interaction and simulation of the robot, it can lead to a higher techno-aesthetical experience. So the first step of our hybridization inquiry, how exactly we plan to work on all this, was through some artistic residencies. Among the last one was this winter in Montpellier. And the idea was to see how the artist can get in the loop of this interaction with the robot. So the idea was to explore the quality of movement of a human and non-human entity through kinesthetic empathy. Kinesthetic empathy is the capacity to participate in somebody's movement or to empathize with and see exactly what is being produced. Researchers are working on this concept, especially in dance. And for this experimentation we thought about using morphing in video techniques. This is about overlapping several types of images as a concept that can trigger a continued rehabilitation and adjustment of the bodies and their transformation into shapes. So the small results or findings that we had through this experiment led us to want to question more this idea of how exactly the interaction with a virtual robot can trigger creativity, or what exactly can we get out of it, and why is it different, and in what is it different to work with virtual entities in a dance context than with a hardware version of the robot. So the next step led us to a case study done in a dance school that I was mentioned earlier, and it's about human-to-robot dance routine taught by, as I said, the humanoid robot, an industrial arm, and a human performer. There were videos displayed on the screen of the dance studio, and the sequence was the same. But the idea was that since the appearance of each robot was different, or even the movement quality or the possibility of expression were different from the human, our intention was to see how exactly would the persons that interacted with will copy, emulate or not, and how do they feel about it. So in figure A, I don't know if I can pass the video because it's in the regie. Yes, in figure A, students are basically imitating through their own morphology and physiology how the robot is indicating the scene. And there is a bit of variance, but we've seen through the results that I will detail later what exactly their experience was. And then there is the other video as a more of an exploration of a state that we later define as creative. So I'll get back to the slide and ask maybe the regie if can pass the second video. And here, I don't know if it's possible. We are waiting. The idea was that after this learning sequence or imitation sequence, the participated kind of entered into a more creative improvisational state, and after the discussion we had, their senses were more present, and the spontaneous movements we were looking for appeared more easily. So this was the idea, to see exactly how by appropriating movement vocabulary done by machines, by robots, then in a different timing, the dance students can improvise and use this material to alter a bit their regular training routines and way of express themselves in dance. So the results of our studies, so after doing this experience with the three trial teachers, the industrial arm, the humanoid robot, and the human. The results were showing us a bit what our assumptions were earlier, but we kind of confirmed them. And some of the biases that we might have is the idea that the humanoid robot was already present and the sequence order that might have influenced their responses. But in overall, the participants were happy to interact or discover this expressivity of robots and want to add other movements once they knew them. And this is a factor for expressing creativity, and could spend more time understanding movement. Then there was this equal distribution of answers regarding the shape, both for humanoid and robotic arms, and the idea that for a humanoid, it's more easy to follow the movements compared to an industrial arm, which has this different shape and way of moving. And what we want to do now after the analysis of results is to see maybe how we already did. Actually, there was another study with the physical robots and a paper related to it, and see how exactly we can precise more the definition of creativity, see exactly what can be, what other factors besides inspiration, and how exactly besides imitation we can work on it, and maybe measure some mirror neurons or concepts that are in neuroscience that can help define or focus more on this brain part when defined inspiration, when defined creative states. So thank you for your time. I don't know if you have questions. I don't know we have time for the question, but anyhow, it was this.